was like, I don't know. I was devastated. Brillies was my first business that hit 6 figures a month. I thought it was gonna be like my forever business, but just celebrities were wearing us. It was popping. It was popping. I didn't even know I was going through a cyber attack. I woke up with no sales and I was like, this is crazy. This was all because
Kaila Uli
is a Dutch-Indonesian entrepreneur
who overcame personal tragedy and financial hardship
to build a successful business.
She shares what it takes to be a small business owner on TikTok.
In my 20s, I was using the money that I made as a model to bankroll the business. I genuinely had to choose between rent or inventory and then didn't have money for groceries. I was raised in the kind of place where Avon meant you were a business owner. It was just ridiculous. I hate that part of social media that's turned it into the only way you're gonna actually be successful is to be a business owner. This is why I started my TikTok. I failed a lot of businesses to get to the point of having one that made it as big as that did. If I had to start over right this second, I would immediately.
The longer you're in business, you're going to get hit with something.
50% of all the cyber attacks are against small businesses.
The attacks, the trolls, the failures, you're putting it all out there.
I'm on social media teaching other people how to run their businesses, and I just lost my business.
What the heck is an online hitman?
Okay, this story is wild.
Welcome to What the Tech, your gateway to business strategies and tech secrets shaping today's workplace. You know, every now and then somebody comes along that catches not only your breath, but captures your attention in a way that somebody else hasn't. And that's exactly who I've got today, Kaila Uli. You know, she creates content, but is also a small business owner. And that combination of founder and content creator makes her absolutely lethal. Welcome to the podcast, Kaila Uli.
Huh? You sound way cooler than I am.
Yes, sí se puede, desde Los Ángeles, California.
I mean, I understand the Los Angeles part.
Thanks for joining me today.
Thank
Kaila.
you for having me. That intro made me sound dope.
But you are. You're dope. You're dope. Look, you're dope for so many reasons. You drop such good nuggets that anybody could understand that wants to start a business or wants to be successful in the business, or even more important, what not to do in your business. And you're loaded with stories of your challenges, the attacks, the trolls, the failures, and you're putting it all out there for people to learn, absorb, and then take back and use some of that in what they do.
I hope so. I really hope that's what people get out of it, because my sister and I have this conversation regularly where it's like, how do you have such high quantity of these strange occurrences? And I think it's just because I keep doing, I go out and I talk to people and I go online and I try to get PR for the businesses, and I'm always around people, and it just increases the odds of strangeness happening. I think, honestly, you're not the first person who's told me that I speak plainly, and I love hearing that, because in the early days of TikTok, the bros and the gurus and all of the fancy people were like, no one's gonna let you come off super. And I'm like, first of all, I'm from Pomona, so suck my Irish.
And you and I had a chance to talk earlier, and the Pomona that I had in my brain is not the Pomona that you're saying, right?
No, okay. So the Pomona you had in mind was the Pomona colleges, which is very nice. It's part of Ivy League. There's this collection of these 4 very expensive colleges. That's beautiful over there. Super pretty. I'm from Pomona, downtown San Bernardino Avenue is a totally different scene. Where I'm from, if you hear a loud noise, everybody goes down on their stomach, and the last one down loses an ear. So
I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm talking about.
Oh, is that right? Sorry, Snoop?
Yeah, I'm talking about.
Oh, wow. He knows what you're talking about. He knows the part of the neighborhood you're talking about.
Yeah. But it's weirdly not like that anymore. It did get super gentrified like everything else in LA. If you go through most of Pomona now, unless you go down to down, it's actually weirdly nice. You see Corvettes. They renovated the YMCA into luxury housing. So there's a disconnect now when I tell people I'm from Pomona, because initially they'd be like, oh, Pomona. And now they're like, oh, Pomona's nice.
Pomona's nice. There's nothing wrong with that.
Fine.
Eh, but, the plain nature of your manner of talking is what I find so not just endearing, but refreshing because when you're trying to cut across the noise and trying to reach people, there are people of all stripes, shapes, sizes, colors, and you're able to take your experience and just dole it out like here.
Yeah.
And you have your wit, you have your humor, you have your dose of reality thrown in there. And that's what caught my attention specifically that you were talking about a cyber attack on your business.
Yeah.
And you had a video that talked about it, and you mentioned something that I had not heard before, online hitman.
Yeah.
I was like, "What? What the heck is an online hitman?"
Okay. This story is wild. First of all, like
Yes.
I didn't even know I was going through a cyber attack. I just knew I was like, why don't I have any sales for today? Why are all these fake websites attached to my Pixel? Like, what is going on? I woke up with no sales and I was like, this is crazy. And then we spent 2 days probably like texting everyone, calling everyone. And now we have Chat GPT. I probably could have asked Chat GPT if it came out sooner, but
Mhm.
Google didn't know what I was talking about. And like the layers of the nonsense was so weird. And all of my friends were like trying to unpeel it. And eventually I was like, dude, I don't understand. So I went on TikTok and I posted about it. And I was like, guys, I don't know what's wrong. Somebody help me. And then
Mm.
tech people started jumping in and they were like, this is what's happening. And everyone is bringing little pieces to the equation. And then there's this guy that, oh my God, I wish I knew his name. He's like this big Samoan guy, and he was talking about online hitmen, and I was like, wait a minute. And then he started like breaking down kind of what I was going through, and that was my first ability to start figuring out what was going on. And
But
like honestly, TikTok solved the problem for me. But then
TikTok solved the business problem for you.
oh, they did. But then I figuring out how to solve it after figuring out what it was a whole nother problem, which I did not recover from. So
How did you feel as you were going through that? I can only imagine putting myself in your shoes, being a small business owner myself. I tend to look at my dashboard on the regular, probably
yeah,
multiple times a day, and I'm like, okay, we're at where we should be today. But then if you see a big fat zero, you're like, oh crap,
it was
what's going on?
traumatizing. First of all, I went through so many different emotions because I failed a lot of businesses to get to the point of having one that made it as big as that did. So Brillies was my first business that I actually hit 6 figures a month. That was the first time I did that. Everything else was learning. Everything else was getting there and trying to figure out how to do it. And I thought it was going to be like my forever business. I was like, "Oh my god, this is it." Bunch of celebrities were wearing us. We were like working with like the schmo. He's a UFC guy, made him custom glasses. It was popping. It was popping. And I was like, here we go. And then waking up to that, at first I was like, I I don't know. I was devastated, but I also didn't know enough to be as devastated as I could have been because I didn't know how bad it was gonna get. The real ouchie started about a month later when I realized it was gone, and I couldn't build it back, and that there was nothing left to return to because all my data was destroyed and my
Right.
social medias had been bumped off, and I was fighting to get them back on. And then the embarrassment part came because I was like, I'm on social media teaching other people how to run their businesses, and I just lost my business. I don't have a business now. What am I gonna do? So there was like so many different pieces that I just was feeling genuinely embarrassed about for a minute, and then I gave myself like 2 days, and then I just was like, all right, let's get this back. Let's go new. Gotta make another one. Let's go.
What did you do? Because we all get to the lows, right? You experience a point about you want to throw in the towel. You think you're going to go back and work for somebody 9 to 5. I've had those moments where, like, if something doesn't change in the next 60 days, I probably got to go back to work for
Yeah.
somebody, right? What helped you to, like, either put the switch on or say, yeah, I'm going to do this, or, you know what, I'm going to throw in the towel. When you're there, what helped you move forward to, I'm going to go forward with this?
I'm gonna give you the real answer and not the inspirational "Did that girl"
The put it
answer.
on the wall quote?
Yeah. In my 20s, so I worked as a model in my 20s, and I was using the money that I made as a model to bankroll the business. I bootstrapped my whole I wasn't always a model. There was a time where I like genuinely had to choose between rent or inventory and then didn't have money for groceries. And then as I got being able to pick up modeling jobs, I'm really tall, I'm 5'9", and it got to the point where I had a little bit of extra money, a little bit of extra money, and then I was able to invest that. So this is not something I talk about all that often, but it is a piece of the puzzle. So when the business went down, I knew I had my investments to fall back on. So I was safe. And that allowed me to be in a space of, okay, what's the next move and to strategize it. That's not to say I haven't been in those low lows where I'm like, I'm going to have to get a 9 to 5. I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to do that. When I've been in those situations in the past, it was more like, well, I don't really care if I have to get a 9 to 5 because I need money. I'm going to get 5 9 to 5s. And I did that too. I had multiple jobs. I was working every single place I could because I was like stack. So I've never really been mentally, I've never been in a spot of like, this is horrible and awful and what I'm going to do. I'm more just like, money's got to come in somewhere and we're going to make it come in somewhere. But this particular time, I had spent my 20s making sure I would be safe if something bad ever happened. So I was okay in that sense.
Mm.
And it gave me the flexibility to start another business. But losing it still wasn't fun.
Mhm. No, you get whacked with, you know, crap happening, and
Yeah.
then it's almost unavoidable. The longer you're in business, you're going to get hit with something, economy, customers, competitors in your case, which is what one of the things that I found so fascinating about your story was that it's one thing if you said, this happened to MGM Grand, like they had a hack and a break in. This happened to one of the big credit companies. This happened to T-Mobile. But we were talking to James Morrison. He was a former FBI specialist at the Cyber Task Crimes Unit for the
Oh,
FBI. He
wow.
said, you wouldn't believe what happens to people, but you're a small business owner. And you'd said on one of your videos that whoever did this spent a good pretty penny, but you believe that it was a competitor in a space where you think, I'm a small business. What does anybody got to do with
Dude,
me?
that's the thing I'm trying to warn people about, like, left and right now is it doesn't matter. Like, 50% of all the cyber attacks are against small businesses, and a lot of those small businesses are, like, so small, they're, like, below $1,000 in revenues. Like, your size, they're not particularly after your revenues. Like, there's a difference between one where they're just taking you out, but then there's
Mhm.
also the ones where it's just data. They're just trying to get a hold of data. They're just, like, trying to cause a
Mm.
ruckus. They're just trying to cause scene. So being small doesn't mean literally 2 weeks ago, I set up a new store, and within 48 hours, that one started getting dummy sales, menace sales for no reason. Before I'd done a whole lot of work on it too. It doesn't matter how big you are; they're hitting everybody. It's a data thing.
We had, this is probably about maybe 2 years ago, on the website we had, so PSA for everybody. Not every sale, like you said, is genuine, but then there was something even more malicious where it wasn't the actual transaction. The whole transaction wouldn't go through, so we could deny or approve it or the filters catch it, but they were just pinging cards to see if they would actually go through, to
Oh,
find out if those cards were still able to be used. And then
yeah.
when we talked to the credit, I mean, we were made whole, had to go through a whole thing. But in the end, we found out there's another layer to that, which is somebody will capture data for, let's say they break into your database of customers. They want to find out which ones they can use right away. And they will start pinging websites just to see, is that a good card? Not with the intention of buying, but to validate that the card is still good. Isn't that
Yeah, and
crazy?
there's a new wave of stuff going on right now too, where it's a test on your systems and your defenses and to see how much chaos they can cause within a business with the intent for future attacks. So
Mm.
you might get something like, I'll just walk you through the one that the set off the
Go
red
for it.
alarms with one that happened on the news store the other day. It was a huge order for one single product. And the way that store in particular works is it's a bundle. You buy two, you get one free, but you also get a 30% off coupon and you also get free shipping. It's one of those maxed out offer pages. So it only makes sense to even buy something there if you do all the opt-ins and you apply the coupon and you get the bundle. And this person didn't do that. They bought the singular one product that's overpriced in order to encourage you to get the bundle. And they bought like
They paid
nine.
too much attention to your marketing.
Oh yeah. So they bought 9 of those without applying any discount. And of course, Shopify did say this is probably fraud, but then I was like, this is just too weird to not mean something deeper. And then I got on the phone with the guys and they were like, okay, when it looks like this, what it usually means is somebody's testing if they can, first of all, if the site's going to accept that. First, can they get away with that? Can they see,
Mhm.
is this order going to be, are you going to catch it or not? And then, second of all, if you do, then they're going to set up for something bigger, a bigger type of attack where they're doing the same thing. And I was like, oh my God, no, but everyone has too much time on their hands. So obviously you cancel it. And then they have something they do on their end where they block those people from buying again. But dear God, dear God. And then another thing I wanted to mention is because this is a real people are like, "Oh, I'm afraid of getting hacked. I'm not gonna." My business didn't get hacked. That's the craziest thing out about my site was always secure. This was all external. This was all because they got a hold of my pixel data and they were able to attach fake clone sites to
And for
it.
those that are uninitiated, and for those business people out there that don't know what the hell a pixel is, what is a pixel?
Oh, a pixel is a little line of code that goes into your website and it tracks customer movement across your site. And like Meta has one, Snapchat has one,
Mhm.
Pinterest. So
Okay.
you connect those between your sites and then it just tracks activity. And the
Okay.
pixel allows you to retarget customers and stay, you know, make sure you know what's going on your site. You need pixels, first of all. So if you don't have pixels, which a lot of people don't have pixels, get your pixels up.
I did see a video where you mentioned a friend that had product that you saw on Love Island, that
Oh,
somebody was wearing a hat and they were on Michael or Miguel or one of the guys on Love Island. And I love trash TV more than the next person, probably more than
oh,
you.
uh,
And I want to ask you about that because you're in LA,
oh yeah.
in Los Angeles, where people want to make their dreams a reality. Do people go on those shows because they want to be insta famous? Or do they really are they looking for love, amor,
Mm,
cariño, mi amor, mi otra persona?
let's get
What say
into
you about
it.
that?
Ah, God, how much am I allowed to talk about with this? I guess let's just go for it.
Whatever you'd like to
Hey,
say.
hey. All right. So I was a model for a long time. So I have been on the side of all of that. Let's just say a lot of the time. Let's not say most. A lot of the
Okay.
times, the people who get casted on any of those shows are first and foremost models and actors who are trying to make it. A
And
lot of
singers, I've seen a few
agencies.
singers. Have you
What's
noticed
that?
how a lot of those people recently, the last few seasons, they can sing or play an
Oh,
instrument?
yeah. Yeah. And this
No
is,
quinkity.
I was a model 10 years ago, and even back then, it was like part of the cycle that the agency would be like, "We're trying to get you on Survivor. We're trying to get you on Next Top Model. We're trying to get you on The Bachelorette. We're trying to get you on this."
Mm.
And they're trying so hard to get because it gives you exposure.
Yeah.
And then what kind of happened was like people are like, "Actually, we don't want our models on there anymore because it gives you bad press, and we don't like that much." But it still is people that are trying to be actors getting onto those shows. I literally just interviewed with somebody the other day who wants to put me on one of her new TV shows. It's a reality TV show. And she wants me to go on and pretend like I'm not a creator that doesn't have any presence and is just somebody that's there for the ride and act like I've never been on camera before. And I just am magically, mysteriously this way. And I was like, okay. But they pay you, and a lot of those people are camera trained. You guys know good goddamn well what would happen if you take somebody who's never been on camera and put them on a reality TV show. They'd probably crumble. So,
Yeah,
first
no.
of all, that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've have a teeny taste back in the day in college. I was an extra for a Schwarzenegger movie, and I thought maybe I'm gonna make my dreams of maybe going to move. Maybe I'll move to LA. That never happened. But
Good.
I understood that you can't just throw people on camera today.
No.
Throw people on camera and expect great TV because it's still TV. Tell me, is it
Oh,
not?
oh
Is it
my
still
god, but
about
the
entertainment or no?
casting process is how they figured that all out. So when I
Mm.
casted for America's Next Top Model, you have to go through many hoops and circles to get there, and then when you finally get to casting, they intentionally goad you into misbehaving as much as possible. So they
Oh.
want you to act out. And the
Mhm.
people who get picked for the shows are specifically like these are literal questions they'll ask you during interviews. Like, what if somebody gets in your face and they start a fight with you? What are you going to do? And if you say
I'm
something
taking
like, "Oh,
notes.
I'll just
I'm
act
taking notes.
normal,"
I'm taking
oh,
notes
take notes.
in case I get a call from this.
Oh no, they want to see that you can be good TV. They want people who are over the top dramatic. They usually tell you to lie about your relationship status. If you're single, you're not during
Really?
the duration of the show. It's all buffoonery. That being said, I love Love Island.
Is that so so we could get back to talk of business now of the ones that are out there. Married at First Sight, Love Island. What's the other one? I Love Is Blind. Is there a favorite for you because the trash factor is so high?
Oh, Love Island. Like I
No.
actually, I'm a big. I like YouTubes. I like watching my little YouTube clips. But Love Island got me in.
They hooked you.
It got me. It
They
got
got
me.
you. Oh my god. We could talk about that later because I got some more stuff, but we could save that
Okay, let's
for the
go.
after show. So you were saying, so on back to the serious stuff,
Okay.
that cyber threats are real, even if you're a small business. What can people do to either prevent or stay ahead of some of that stuff?
You can get behind Cloudflare. So that's a service that helps distribute attacks. So if you're getting DDoS, it can
And for
distribute
those
some of
that
the.
don't know, explain what DDoS, because not everybody is as smart
Okay,
as you
so
now.
DDoS attack, there's two types. There's DDoS and then there's a DOS attack. And there is, to make it simple, they attack your site with dummy bots that just flood your servers and knock you offline. And it's just imagine your site is can handle 1,000 visitors an hour or 1,000 visitors a minute or whatever it is. They flood it with like 250,000 an hour, and it overwhelms the servers and it knocks you offline.
Is
And
that
what?
why when the show's popular or something and you
Yeah,
try to get on, you can't get on?
yeah.
Mm.
But that's not really a problem anymore for big companies because most of them have like Cloudflare. And what that does is it gives you access to many, many servers. So if you get a DDoS attack, instead of it all relying on your one Shopify server that you're sharing with other people, it distributes the attack across multiple, multiple servers, their entire network of servers, and keeps you online. So that's one thing you can do. The other thing is keep your pixel data secure. I didn't know
Mhm.
the seriousness of making sure your pixel was private back in the day. Like I knew it's not like I'm something I'm going to go stand on the street and hand out to people, but
Mhm.
I didn't realize that by using like connector apps. Like this is how my breach happened. Is I was using a pixel installation tool from Meta, so I didn't know how to put that line of code into my header on Shopify. So I just a little connector app. Yeah, sure. Bloop. And then that published the pixel into the front facing theme of the code. So all you
Mm.
had to do was inspect element. Oh, there's her pixel. So don't do that. Make sure your pixel is safe. Put it in yourself or have a tech guy put it in if you don't know how to code and you're it's like beyond you. Don't ever
Mhm.
let someone get hold of your pixel. And then the other thing is cyber insurance, which is not that exciting. I know it's super not glamorous, but there's
Cheap.
cyber
It's not
insurance.
very expensive.
It's not. And it'll keep you safe because if you ever get hacked, which I didn't get hacked, but if you ever do get hacked, every single customer who was affected in the breach can potentially sue you. So
Ooh,
cyber insurance is
ooh,
helpful for
ooh.
that.
That
Yeah.
is that
And
is negative.
then cyber attack insurance can help you if your revenues get knocked off or like loss of wages and all that. Cyber attack insurance can help with that. It's called cyber insurance.
Yeah, no, it's not glamorous, but it's something people should have as
Good.
part of their business insurance. You've
Hmm.
talked to I know we have it as bundled as part of our insurance plan. Boring stuff, but
Very.
important. And so there's no lack of emphasis here. If you can add it, it's probably the cheapest thing you could do. Next, you recommend go check out Cloudflare. So shout out to Cloudflare and those folks. I'm sure you can Google that online. When it comes to being online is a tricky thing. You know this. And creating content can also be tricky. But so many people, that's why I also was asking you about Love Island, is that people want to go viral. People want to be seen because they think that being seen and going viral leads to more money. And I
Yeah.
heard you say that you had a video that went super viral, millions of views, very little sales.
That's happened
Another
many times. I've gone viral buttload of times for non-relevant things, and it doesn't turn into money because it's not in your niche at all. Most of my most viral content was so far out of niche, it's ridiculous. And it doesn't turn into money because I'm just on TikTok, I'm scrolling this girl doing something stupid that's funny, haha, go. Content with less views tends to turn into more money because you're,
is there an intersection or a formula? Okay, so what you've told me is viral doesn't equal money.
yeah,
And so if I go viral just for sake of going viral, but with the intent of either fame or money, because again, you can be famous and be broke, right? Nobody wants to be famous and broke. You rather be famous with some money. So then
yeah.
at the end of the rainbow, I want there to be a pot of money. Is there a formula that you've found that would help people with that?
I mean, sure, if you're really great at content and you can consistently game that system and pull a Mr. Beast where you're just like views, views, views and getting monetized off your views. And then because you have so much reach, people are offering you brand deals and stuff like that. Sure.
Not everybody's Mr. Beast.
Not everybody's Mr. Beast. There's many models and people out here in LA that have followings of 1 million or 2 million. It's not even that uncommon. I would
Mm.
say the golden number that most actors and influencers have out here is around like that 250, 300 mark. A lot of them are broke. Like a lot of them are not getting.
Ouch.
Uh, you would think if you have that kind of reach, like people are booking
Ouch.
you for campaigns and they're like booking you for posts and stuff, but it doesn't happen at that scale because people have. It used to, but the influencer bubble is a little bit popped. And one of my really good friends, Christina, she just does celebrity influencer management. And she's saying that they're paying 75% less than they used to pay because people are feeling the burn from low
Ooh,
ROI from influencers. And there's like wars happening, and people are not feeling super impressed with the influencer world right now. So payments are
are you
lower. But
serious?
yeah, and then like on the boxer side of thing, I've worked with so many boxers in like the agency, and a lot of them wanted nothing but virality. Like they didn't want to sell a product, they didn't want anything other than just like views, 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 because that was gonna get me more like money in the long run. And sometimes it happens, and sometimes it literally never does. So I wouldn't ever do that. I would never take that kind of gamble. Like if I'm trying to go viral, I'm pushing to a store or I'm pushing to something that has money behind it.
So your store, an Amazon store, an affiliate link, something that has a transaction, some commerce behind it, so that it's not just views.
Yeah,
Views
I
tied
mean,
to something that can translate into money.
yeah, I mean, my stomping ground is really like e-commerce content for small business owners, so they all have stores attached by default. But in the past, yeah, it was the boxes and they didn't have anything attached. They were just trying to go viral. And I would always recommend to them there's got to be some kind of training program or one-on-one consultations or
Mhm.
something that you can offer to people, because this isn't going to last forever. And you do need to be able to build something, an end goal here, because not everyone's got to be Ryan Garcia. And a lot of them you don't even hear about anymore. That was
Right.
their golden time then, and now it's
Or Manny Pacquiao or
yeah.
Canelo Alvarez. I know so you're into boxing?
I was very into boxing
So
for
what do you think of Canelo?
I was so happy when Bivol beat his ass.
What he went up in weight class. Come on now. Bivol
Don't
was
care.
That's a beast. He's a beast. He's the Mr. Beast of boxing. Canelo won
I
not
got
just one or
to
two,
work with him in
multiple.
person.
Huh?
One of the viral clips about Bivol, like his bruise, I was there for that, and I filmed that.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. All right. All right. I don't know. Canelo has staying power. He is the Mayweather. He's today's Mayweather. Nobody beat Mayweather. Zero. I mean, zero, zero. Nobody beat Mayweather. Right? He tried. He didn't. He fell short. But now he's virtually unbeatable. I don't know how much longer he wants to keep fighting, but he's
I don't know. I don't know. I do like him just as a talent. I think he's very interesting and he understands from a non-fighting side, just from being a talent and getting people behind him, getting people to like him. That's what I really like about him. He's very polarizing and people either love him or hate him. And I love that kind of talent because they tend to stay relevant.
well, he's superseded boxing, right? He's become a thing. When you
Yeah.
become a thing, you supersede the sport.
Yeah.
Ronaldo in soccer and LeBron, right? Those
Yeah.
guys are way beyond the sport, right? It's just them and who they are. The sport is one thing, but whenever LeBron
It
stops
is
playing, just like
like,
Shaq,
oh, yeah.
right?
Ryan Garcia has managed to do it for a lot of crazy reasons. Yeah, I like that when people are able to move past it, because that's really what's gonna keep you, like, relevant in the long run.
No doubt. I want to ask you something. I want you to fill in the blank for this. Okay.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, it's easy. Easy for you. So here's what I'm gonna do. If you could go back in time to start a small business, I would blank. I'm gonna repeat it so you get a little more time. If
Okay.
I could go back in time to start a small business, I would fill in it.
I would reach out for help sooner because I grew up in such a, like, little poor kid headspace where I was like, "Imma do it myself. Nobody's gonna help me. I don't need anybody." And I was pushing boulders uphill for a really long time, and I very by chance happened to meet who is now my financial advisor, and I love him to death. And he gave me so many keys and nuggets of knowledge that changed my business in a week, things that I had been trying to do for a year, and it was just ridiculous. Like, I didn't even know stuff about, like, cash and capital and why I shouldn't be spending my own money and why I should be getting a credit card to fund purchase orders, and like all that was so far. I had no idea. And I was doing things the hardest possible way you possibly could, meaning I was working for a couple of years to save up some money and then using that money to get the inventory and then putting the worst way possible because I didn't know there was any other option. So if I had
Mm.
to start over right this second, I would immediately look for people to help me, like, and not be prideful about it. And like the whole lone wolf thing, no, that is a killer. That is a crusher. That's just going to keep you a lone wolf. I would be looking for help right away.
And where, if somebody is listening to this and they say, okay, I got it, where should they look? In their circle, outside their circle? Where should you turn to?
So actually, this is why I started my TikTok because I didn't have access to any of that. None of it. Not only did I not have access, I was raised in the kind of place where Avon meant you were a business owner. It was like, oh,
Mm.
Herbalife, like not realizing it's destroying you. So the reason I started my TikTok was literally to help out people like that because that's where I was so stuck. And
Hmm.
I absolutely do not recommend reaching out to your network if you grew up the way I did because those people are going to tell you the stupidest things. They're going to tell you, save as much as you can and then try to buy a car in cash a little bit later or work as hard as you possibly can. You're very locked into this work as hard as you can until you die because eventually you're going to have enough excess cash from all this working that you're going to be okay. And that's just not possible. And they're very save, save, save. And eventually you'll have $1,000 in the bank account and then we can put that into some stocks. And then we're going to get like the conversations you just don't know. So if you are in that position, you need to look for people who have done bigger and better things than you, and they're gonna say no. They're gonna say, I'm not gonna help you. What value do you bring to this table? Like none. I don't have any. I'm from Pomona. I don't know anything. I was homeschooled. I can't help you with your marketing. I can't do anything. But you know what I can do is I can work. And that's what I did because I had nothing to bring these people. So it's, I will work for you for cheap or for free, whatever I got to do to be in this room with you so that I can learn from you and listen and eavesdrop on your conversations. I don't care. I just need to
Hmm.
learn it. So I
Hmm.
started offering my time because I had nothing else to offer but my fingers and time to work for people. And as I got better and better and better, I started being able to offer a little bit better. Once I eventually learned a little bit about marketing, I was like, I'll do some of your marketing. Once I learned how to do social media, I was like, I'll help you with social media. And as I got better, I was able to offer better and get better mentorship and get more people in my life that could help me get where I was going. But I'm fast. Like this sounds like a 10-year spread. I was like, no, I was like, let's go, 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 go. Like I was making sure this was like, I was on LinkedIn applying to jobs, just saying like anybody, 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 so I can get some experience. So that's my recipe. That's how I do it, how I did it. And if I had to do it again, I would do the same thing.
You do the same thing. What do you say to people that say, okay, Kyla, I get it. Maybe I should think differently. I should reach to a circle that's beyond me. Maybe they're 5 steps ahead of me in terms of their entrepreneurship journey or as a business person. Is entrepreneurship right for everybody? Because this is
No,
rough going business, right?
no,
There
absolutely
could be a
not.
pot of gold, but you said there wasn't always a pot of gold with some of your failed businesses. Is this something anybody and everybody should do?
No, no, absolutely not. And I hate that part of social media that's turned it into like the only way you're going to actually be successful is to be a business owner. It's like, absolutely not. Like, the reason I took this course in my life was because I was homeschooled, didn't have a degree. My husband died when I was 21, couldn't work, I didn't know what to do. I knew that if I worked at McDonald's, I was going to make, not enough money for the rest of my life. And so I did something else. It is not for everybody. You're working 10 times harder than everyone around you. You got to make sure your profit margins support your lifestyle. You made $100,000 that month? No, you didn't. The business did, but how much are you getting out of that? 13,000, 15,000, 20,000, 50,000. You're not getting all that money. You got to
True.
cover your own health insurance. You got to make sure people working under you are supported and safe. It's high freaking stress. It's really high stress. And I don't think anyone needs to fall for this line of like, you should be a business owner. Why? Please tell me why. One of my friends sold his business, his bakery, that was doing $60,000 a month as a bakery, a real in-person bakery that people were coming to for breakfast every day in a low foot traffic area that you literally have to go to out of your way. He sold it because he was like, you know what? I'm tired of getting up at 3 a.m. I want to work for corporate and I want someone to pay for my health care and I want 10 days of paid vacation and I don't want to do this anymore. What's wrong with
Mhm.
that? Nothing.
Nothing. If you're okay with that, I heard somebody say, I want to do the thing that helps me sleep at night.
Mm,
And a lot of people do things, whether it's working for somebody else or their own thing, they can't sleep at night because of it. And if you can't sleep at night because of it, maybe you have to rethink it, unless you know this is part of the game. I'm willing to pay that price in order to get the thing that I'm really after.
yeah. My sister, I think, is a perfect example of this. Is for a long time she thought that she wasn't making it because I'm over here like running my business and talking about how I do it and going after all these high power thingies. And she felt like she was some kind of failure because she didn't have it in her to do that. And she just had seen the pressure of social media and she's like, I don't want to do that and I don't feel good doing that. But what I do like is she likes working in hospitality and she likes doing creative things and she's very artistic. And she's spent a good portion of her life feeling like she wasn't good enough because the internet is telling her, well, if you're not a business owner, you're not a boss, babe, you suck. And it's like, no, like you have such a strong skill set in what you're doing. You're artistic. Your hair is 3 feet long. You're great at every job you do. People love you for what you do. You are just fine, ma'am. And that's something I really don't want people to feel like they have to be a business owner to be happy because that's just another social media fake. That goes hand in hand with the fake wealth. It's that too. They go
Yeah,
right.
I've seen
Those
that
are
your
those are best
TikTok
friends.
about that. You've got some real estate folks not so happy with how you called them out on rent a mansion, rent a celebrity car, and all the rest. The rent the shopping, the items, the goods. You don't even
Rent
need
a
that
square.
house. I was like, ah, are you serious? You could rent the mansion for only 175 bucks an
Oh,
hour. That's nothing. And
not
shoot
just the
videos all day
mansion.
long.
Dude, people are fighting in my comment section and not believing it. I'm not talking little mansions. I'm talking the mansion with the 5 acres and the grounds. Like I don't know how these people make money. I genuinely don't. But one of the ones you can rent on Peerspace literally looks like the Versace mansion. And
Oof.
I assume they're renting out little chunks. There's no way you're getting that whole. There's no way. I don't know how it works, but I am tempted to try to find out.
You know what? I bet I would love. You know what? I would love to see you put a video, or just if you go there for an hour, shoot a bunch of TikTok shorts all over the place, and brought to you by this listing on Airbnb or whatever the heck, and then people won't think that you're lying or BSing them. You actually, yeah, I've rented a mansion. Here's what happened.
I'm so TikTok did pay me off that video, like, and it was like, hey, this is a nice little pile of cash. I'm like, let me take this TikTok money and put it back into TikTok buffoonery. I'm like,
Keep reinvesting it.
I was like, close the loop. Oh, I gotta tell you though, this is dumb. You would think that based off of that post, people would be like, oh, embarrassing. Let me behave. No, ma'am. My DMs are full of people who are trying to buy the pinned comment at the top. They want to
Oh,
pay for that.
oh,
It's
rent it
full of
out.
people.
Rent
Oh,
it
yeah.
out.
It's
Rent
full of
out
people.
that space.
I didn't even know people were doing that. So yeah, they want to buy
That's
the
the
pinned
thing.
top comment. They want to buy shout outs, which obviously I knew about that. But I was like, the freaking audacity. Like, this is exactly what this post is about. And you want to buy
Maybe you can help educate me, because when people put comments like that, a lot of times is Kyla me ayudó. She helped me turn my $100 to $50,000, crypto something or another, blah, blah, blah. What's that
yes.
about? I figured you probably know what that is.
It's just scammers. On
Mhm.
TikTok, there's one that's been around for years. Her name's Claudia, and it's not a human. It's literally just if you go follow that bunny trail, you'll end up in a WhatsApp or a Telegram, and then they'll
Mm,
your investment. And they make enough money off of it that people keep doing it. And I block those the second they land on my pages, but oh my God, there's so many of them. I hate those so much. I even have a filter set up on my account where you can't even comment on words like Forex or crypto.
mhm.
It has supposed to keep them there, but they get around it when it's in the username.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Okay,
Yeah.
now I know. Now I'm educated on that. I'm gonna go and change my filters because I've seen that so many, and I'm like, is there any money there? Because to me, it's obviously, like you said, buffoonery. I know it's a fake thing, but why keep posting it? Why just
Because
must
it
be?
keeps working.
Oh, oh,
It keeps
oh,
working.
oh my
And
god!
I had one of my followers super upset because a few weeks ago she got scammed 3 times off of one of the people impersonating me.
Ouch!
Another one.
Oh my god!
And I was like, I feel bad, but after the second time,
Mm,
you should have not done that a third time.
mm.
It's There's so
for
many of those things.
you said something else that was super intriguing because this is leads into that. So people will believe sometimes things that are on the internet. Take that 100 and make it 50,000 with this scam. You had said something about how MLMs, multi-level marketing, aka pyramid schemes back in the day, and I don't call them that anymore for whatever reasons, that the FTC is cracking down on this. But more importantly, you said something in your one of your videos that they target mostly poorer, less affluent neighborhoods,
They absolutely do,
knowing
and I will fight anybody on this because it is actually proven that people who get into MLMs after the fact, they're in a worse financial position than they were before because not only does it dry up your resources, but it also puts you in a position where you're working so hard for this thing because all you got to do is work hard, hard. Oh, okay, we're great at that. Been working hard my whole life. All I
Mhm.
got to do is I'm going to allocate more time on this after I already paid that $1,200 setup fee that I spent a year saving for. I'm gonna be a business owner. This is it. I made it, mom. And then no, you didn't work hard enough. You lost it. You should have. You didn't want it. You weren't hungry enough. You weren't bad enough. And then you take that. Coming from those type of communities, it's easy to believe. If someone says you didn't work hard enough, it must be because that's true. That happens. So yeah, and anyone can Google this. Like clock me on this. Like you can literally see this on the FTC website anywhere.
Well, it's an update on the FTC um, publication that they have on this. And for folks that are not aware, there we go. There's the actual PDF. We'll also throw it a
Abysmal.
link in there. This says The Case for and Against Multi-Level Marketing by John Taylor, MBA,
Yeah,
PhD,
this
Consumer
is a good
Awareness
one.
Institute. So there is some smoke there. Should pay attention to that. Where there's smoke, there's a bit of fire. And there's the FTC page that has some additional information on that business guidance concerning multi-level marketing and pyramid schemes. It really does. Like you think about it for a minute, people that are of lower income, and I was there in high school. I didn't have money. Luckily some school thought I was worth the time and effort, and I paid college, and they let me go to a school where I had $0 to pay for it, but they came through with a bunch of financial aid. And that mindset of I got to work hard, I got to work for the last dime, it does come from you don't have enough, that scarcity. I got to work my way out of this situation, I'm in a hole.
Yeah,
And so that mindset is perfect for trying to find
yeah.
more people to sign up for this stuff.
If I knew we were going to talk about this, I would have gone on YouTube because there's this fantastic YouTube documentary specifically about it, and it talks about every aspect of this. And I wish I knew what it was, but if people want to actually get into the weeds on that, it's very well documented on
Mhm.
YouTube and the FTC. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, there's plenty of that out there, and to me that whole where the multi-level marketing companies are going and targeting lower income neighborhoods. That to me was eye opening. But the fact that you tie that and the fact that the mindset is I got to get myself out of here, and it puts the onus back on you, like I'm a failure because I didn't do it,
yeah,
versus the product is a scam. It's a
yep.
very interesting paradox in relationship.
Oh, they're so smart. That's probably the only group of people that would fall for that because somebody else would be like, hey, because other people have, like, a spade is a spade. Like, when we grow up like that, we don't have the education that a lot of people do. We
Mhm.
just don't. All we know is that to get out of this financial situation, I need to own a business. That's what everyone's talking about. Save, own a business, work hard, and I can do this. And then if you don't really have the foresight to think about maybe the reason I'm maximizing my time here and nobody's signing up for it is because it's a dry well and the
Mm,
MLMs have already been here and everyone's already done it. Or
mhm.
maybe there's not actual, maybe I'm not actually selling a product, I'm selling a thing. You don't know that. You don't know the difference between MLM versus real business.
Yeah,
And
no.
I'm sure we've all had everyone in my community at some point got into some MLM, and they always go as hard as possible and do the buying the suit and setting up the Facebook and going door to door, and they go at it so aggressively, and it never works. I've seen it happen so many times.
Mm, it is very difficult. You know,
Devastating.
you have enlightened, you've dropped a lot of knowledge. Anything else that you want to leave us with regard to small business, words of wisdom, anything you want?
Do I have any words of wisdom to share?
What?
Um, I don't have anything fancy to say. Let me see. I will say, this is just the thing that I want everyone to know about their business in general. A lot of people who I talk to are very specifically stuck underneath $10,000 a month. And that's where I was stuck for a very long time. And that's where I spend most of my tears and most of my, like, what am I doing wrong? I thought I'm working, working, working. But the girl next to me is at $1 million in sales and I didn't even get 3 for today. What am I doing wrong? And then if you're there, most of the time, what that just really means is you're spending too much time doing busy work rather than chasing your revenues, aka I stayed up till 2 a.m. working on an Excel sheet, or I stayed up till 3 a.m. making Canva graphics that are not going to perform on social media, but hey, they make the page look great. Or I spent 8 hours doing this. It doesn't matter. You have to get revenues into the business today, tomorrow, and every single day. And then once you figure out how to get the money into the business, whether it's posting on social media or running some ads or going to the market or whatever it is that you're doing, once you figure out how to do that, you need to operate in like this rule of thirds mentality. It's like, how do I get the people that I have to spend more and how do I increase the volume that I do have here? And if you're doing all that, this is the more important piece. This is the piece I really want you to hear if you're stuck at that low spot, because this is where my heart is here. People are always telling me, like, talk to people who make more. I don't want to do that. This is like, if you're under $10,000 a month and you're stuck there and everything sucks and you don't understand what's going wrong, take a step back, a big old step back, big, all the way back, zoom out and see like what is wrong with the website, what is wrong with the marketing, what is the message that's not being heard. Because if your business sucks, but it's a product that people want and people are getting to the site, you're going to get some percentage of sales. You're going to get some. You're going to get a little bit. Maybe you're not going to get a buttload, but you're going to get some. If you are just doing
Mhm.
everything and staying up 24 hours and getting no sales, nothing's getting better, and there's no measurable growth, come back to the foundations, back to the basics, and let's start there. That's what I got to say.
Hey, I
Yeah, boy.
love that. That's great. That's good stuff. I can't add to it because it's just wonderful. Kyla, muchas gracias. Thank you very much. You
Thank
have
you. I feel like I was talking the whole time. I didn't
that's
ask
what
any
that
questions.
people want to hear you. People want to hear you. I'm just here. I'm just here to guide the conversation. People want to hear you and your words. So I want to thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
You're awesome. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm going to be a cheerleader for you and what you're doing because I think it's a great service to a lot of people. So we've been talking to Kaila Uli. And if you want to hear more about cyber threats and what you can do to secure your business, go check out that episode with James Morrison, former FBI cybersecurity specialist in the Cyber Task Force team. He had a lot to say on what's happening, a little bit more color on the threats from the side of the FBI. So go ahead and check out that episode. And if you need help with complex technology issues, that's what we do at Global Tech. We have some links in the description that allow you to go check that out. I'll be glad to see you, talk to you, and somebody on my team can also reach out to you. So I want to thank you for checking out our episode today with Kyla, and I will see you